dive in with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
I gave you my 2 cents. I love it. Where are we on that?
I think it's fine. I mean, ultimately, I think we all came to the conclusion that the Browns were not going to spend any significant money on a backup quarterback. Josh Dobbs is an extremely smart guy, an extremely likable guy, and he knows the system, right? I mean, I know the offense is going to change this year, but he knows the coaching staff, he knows the players. We've all consistently said pretty much if Deshaun Watson gets hurt for the year, the Browns are screwed. Probably no matter who their backup is.
Yeah.
But
this gives you hope for 3 or 4 games.
In a couple of games, he did a nice job, by the way, when he played for Tennessee right at the end of the season in that game.
Played well.
Could you have had a better backup quarterback? Sure, you could have. But then you got to pay legitimate money. They're paying him like $1 million, $2 million. So I'm completely fine with it.
I was impressed with his maturity when he slid into the starting role in Tennessee. He looked like he belonged there.
When he had just joined the team.
Yeah,
basically.
he didn't look like a spotlit deer. He came out there. He played well. He knew the system. He had good command of the huddle and the guys and looked very much like a leader.
Yes. And we talked yesterday, and Jay, you mentioned it specifically. You were impressed with Baker Mayfield going to the Rams on 2 days and essentially learning that offense and winning a game. Dobbs was on his 3rd team in 3 weeks when he started that game for Tennessee, and they didn't win, but they were 14-point underdogs heading into that matchup with the Cowboys because they were resting Derrick Henry, their top tight end, who it's not a Quankro, but it's a Conkwo. It's almost exactly the same as the guy the Browns signed. Yeah. They had no weapons, and he went out there, threw about 55% completion percentage, ran for 3 first downs.
No one told him he wasn't supposed to win that game.
Exactly, and he had them in there till the 4th quarter, and seeing him come in, get in a huddle with guys that he's not familiar with and be able to perform at a level that we had never seen him do before. He had never started a game in the NFL. That was his first career start.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty damn impressive.
Right.
I thought so.
I like the move. I would rather I like to have mobile quarterbacks as my backup, and I'll kind of explain why. It's kind of difficult when you get a quarterback and he's a straight drop back guy, 1, 2, 3, make reads. That game is harder to string together first downs. That game is more difficult to game plan around. And you kind of saw it a little bit when you look at the 49ers. They had it right in the playoffs. They had, what was it? He came in and got a
Brock
concussion.
Purdy?
After Purdy.
Oh, Josh Johnson.
Yes, Josh Johnson. Yeah. And the reason why you see a lot of those quarterbacks like Tavares Jackson, Josh Johnson, is because you don't have to lead on their arm. You can do other things. You can run screens. They can move around in the pocket. They can do some design runs. And you don't have to be perfect, dropping back, reading defenses, throwing the ball on time to be successful. So I like Dobbs. He's smart enough to kind of digest a playbook in a week, even though he's not getting reps. And he has the ability he's shown in the preseason when he played. That's why the fans like him, is because he can move around and make some plays with his legs and his feet.
And he hustled.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I loved about him, was that, he was, hell, didn't he dive in for a touchdown in one of the preseason games? You're like, dude just put his life on the line.
And he had the 40-something yard scramble where the defender, and it got called back because of holding, but his shirt had stretched out like a mozzarella stick, at Chili's for the 3-for-3 combo.
We be loving backups up in here. We love.
Nobody loves a backup quarterback more than the Browns.
They're signing all the guys I covered in college, by the way.
We love them.
Dobbs in Tennessee and then Mond here, so.
Yeah.
So we're locked and loaded with the backup quarterbacks. Should anything go down.
Yeah.
We feel good.
I think the key here is it upgrades where we were 2 days ago.
Yes.
Nothing against Kellen Mond. I just don't have faith in him. I can't trust what I haven't seen. And I've seen Josh Dobbs, and I know that he looks like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Is he going to take us, on a crazy ride where if he has to start 8 games, he's going to go 6-2? No, very unlikely. But I think, he could win 3 or 4 as long as the pieces around him do their jobs. Who knows?
Well, you said that, Jay. I don't know why I got butterflies in my stomach. You said we got to start 8 games. I said, hold on, man. No.
Not go down that road again.
Not this. No.
Let's not go down that road again.
Yeah.
Well, no team in the NFL plans that at the start of the season. They plan to have their starting quarterback for 17 games. Let's break huddle and go.
Yeah.
But we see how it plays out. We did this exercise earlier.
Half the teams in the league didn't have their quarterback for at least 3 games last season. Half the teams in the league.
That's scary. So I know it's an insurance policy that you hope you never need to cash, but you're actually betting your starter's going to get hurt the way you fill that role. And we saw last year how important a guy like Brock Purdy, who had no experience and no business doing what he did, took that team on a ridiculous run, and if not for getting hurt in the NFC Championship game, who knows?
You ever been so sick before, you've been hurt or something happened to you that's traumatic, and then you get through it, and you look back at it and be like, man, I was really messed up back then. I can't do that no more. It's almost like I don't understand how we did a whole year of doing this show, and we had to talk about Jacoby Brissett. How did that work?
It was tough.
That's 11 whole games. That was hard. I'm like, I don't want to do that no more.
No.
I don't want to talk about that.
We don't want to live there. We don't want to go down that road. You have an idea for a wide receiver. One quick on the wide receiver news.
Wait, can I ask one question first
sure.
to G?
Yeah.
G, is there any significance, and I'm probably not the right person to ask, but I'm asking you here, an all-black quarterback room for the second year in a row for the Browns? Like, is there more significance to that than maybe meets the eye?
Well, now I think it's diminished because sometimes there's a stigma placed on it, but everybody was competent, right? So Jacoby Brissett came in and did what he was supposed to do. So Josh Dobbs came in, and he's a very smart, intelligent person. And sometimes, I guess the importance of it is the fact that a lot of times African Americans weren't given an opportunity because there was some false narratives painted around how successful they could be, or if they could really be that professional face of a franchise. But as we see, all three of them that backed up Deshaun Watson, they came in and did their job admirably. So now, if it happens again, that's a great thing about giving people opportunities. Because now it's not as big as a thing, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, look, well, it's not that bad.
Do you guys see the color of the quarterback? Because I don't.
2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl this year.
I know, but I know what I'm saying is, though, I don't. When I look at a quarterback, I make a lot of judgments. Foot speed, arm strength, how he goes through his progression. I don't look at the color of skin, just like I don't look at white quarterbacks and what color eyes they have.
I don't care about
It's a DNA characteristic, and I'm surprised so many people still see that. I don't.
Yeah.
I think, when there's never been 3 black quarterbacks on a team before, it stands out.
I understand how someone could notate that.
Yeah.
But because the Browns were sub 500 last year, I'm not going to make a knee-jerk reaction and say, well, that proves you can't do that. I look at, well, do you have 3 slow quarterbacks? Because teams do.
But Jay,
and I'm more likely to make a judgment based on a team that has 3 slow quarterbacks.
But there are plenty of people that, hopefully less than there used to be. Certainly,
that's my point, Bull. That's the point I'm going to.
Certainly less in power than they used to be. But there were, for years, as G said, black guys weren't given the opportunity to play quarterback in the NFL.
But certainly we've put that to bed, haven't we? That's why
Certainly.
I'd like to think that by now we have certainly killed that narrative that you can't win with the black quarterback.
I still think there's always biases from some people, hopefully a lot less than there used to be.
Well, why don't we look at in baseball a black pitcher? We never do that.
Well, that's because baseball was integrated hundreds of years ago. Not hundreds.
Well,
but
no, it wasn't.
Baseball was integrated, in the 50s?
Yeah.
Late
40s.
There weren't many
late
black
40s,
quarterbacks until recently.
2023, that's what? That's 90 years.
Well, when you look, if
80 years.
It was really 48, 49.
Yeah, 48,
49.
Yes.
So you're talking about
75 years.
Almost 75 years. But I don't know, at what point did we say, well, he's a black pitcher? Nobody ever said that about Bob Gibson. And Bob Gibson was less than 2 decades after the color barrier broke.
Well,
and you know what they said about Bob Gibson?
Where people say, but maybe there weren't more black. First of all, there's not a lot of black pitchers in baseball.
Well,
not a lot of American, there's Latin pitchers.
There were
but
more
there's not a lot
black
of
pitchers
American
in the
black
70s and
pitchers in
80s when we were
baseball.
young than there is today.
You have a PCC read really quickly?
Yeah, do that. Get that out of the way.
If you want to hit PCC here, Earl, looking for a job with career advancements and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So Earl jumped into our YouTube chat today and asked if they were happy with Josh Dobbs signing.
What'd they say?
We have
Was anybody against it?
86% said yes. And what was that, Jay?
I was just wondering if anyone was against it, like what their argument was for why they don't like it.
Well, 13% said no out of about 300 votes.
I mean,
Earl, did we have any arguments?
The argument against it is that you could have somebody better. There are better options, but they're more expensive. So
according to Earl, there were no set arguments in the chat for against it, but 13% of people said no.
Yeah, the only one I can think of is, if you have someone bigger and better in mind, you know.
You could have got Brissett for the same money. You'd take Brissett over Dobbs, but.
It's funny to me, and I thought this when I read the Dobbs story. Not that they would ever bring him back because you couldn't, but there were reports, and I feel comfortable in saying that the annual offer was between 18 and 25 for Baker. When Baker's people said you're in the wrong neighborhood, exactly what it was, there probably wasn't an exact because they were talking in generalities. But it's been told to me that general number was between 18 and 25. And they felt that was more than fair. Baker's people didn't think it was. They thought it should be more in the 25 to 30. They could have had Baker Mayfield for $4 million for next year.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about life decisions where you just blink and you make the wrong choice. I watched some of Baker's news conference yesterday on NFL Network. He looked like a guy that just found out that his entire family had been slaughtered by a hurricane.
Yeah.
He still handled the press conference poorly, as usual. He got mad. Somebody asked him a question about criticism and
he got his dander up right away.
Right away.
I mean,
I've changed. No, you haven't.
You just proved you didn't change.
Yeah, right.
A buddy of mine that was at the news conference said the aura in the room was uncomfortable.
And it was a nothing question. The guy wasn't trying to be antagonistic.
No.
At all.
I don't think so. He's just got this chip on his shoulder. You know how I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. If I don't know them, they get the benefit of the doubt until they prove to me they don't deserve it. In his world, everybody gets the benefit of nothing. When he's introduced to someone for the first time, I think he sees them with a knife behind their back.
Yeah.
That's how he's wired.
Which is crazy because I think I'm in the minority of people that, I think a lot of people like him. I think I'm in the minority of people.
I don't know that he's.
I don't know.
I don't know about
a lot. I think he's been treated nicely by the media in general.
Some people just aren't likable people.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it is.
You were about to make a point earlier, G, before we did the piece.
Oh,
I don't want you to forget what you were going to say.
Almost. So yeah, that's a good point. You brought up the fact of they don't say that about black pitchers. Let's give you an example of how you would get that same reaction. What if you had a pitching staff that was all black?
I think it's happened.
Not recently.
The Oakland A's.
Right. And it probably would have been a big deal.
So if the Guardians...
And that's a little different, too, because your entire pitching staff, you've got 12 spots.
That's
your starting rotation, you got 45
What if your starting front court was all white in the NBA right now? I mean, I know it's reverse. It's not exactly the same, but it'd be the same.
It's kind of...
The bottom line is
racism.
Racism still clearly exists, obviously. It's never going away. And so it's notable because for so many years, no quarterbacks were... It was known that a lot of teams did not want a black quarterback.
Okay, but watch. How many starting white cornerbacks are there in the NFL?
None.
Zero. Do we ever talk about that?
No.
I kind of...
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
We just talked about it recently.
Yeah, I talked about because we work with Dustin.
Is it a narrative throughout? Like
why
when we
should
were
it
at
be?
the Super
White people are the majority, so who cares?
Why should it be? If you're making a determination based on a DNA characteristic, eye color would be just as absurd. If you're gonna discriminate on blue-eyed people,
but are you saying people don't discriminate? I don't understand.
Absolutely not. What I'm saying is, I still can't understand. Doug Williams won a Super Bowl 30 years ago, almost 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you this.
You can no longer say that a black quarterback can't win a Super Bowl.
So who's the guy? Bill Polian, right?
Yeah.
Bill Polian is a pillar of GMs in the way you build teams. He's done it for so long.
Yeah.
When Lamar Jackson came out, he said this guy needs to be a receiver.
Right.
And obviously, if you watch Lamar Jackson win the Heisman and you watched him throw the ball, you watched him run, you obviously knew that Lamar Jackson was definitely a quarterback. So there were some people who evaluate that position, and they're evaluating with certain biases and certain slants to it.
And some of it may be subconscious.
What if a black, he wasn't a general manager, team personnel said the same thing about him?
Well,
because there was at least one black NFL personnel.
There's
who
barely
said,
any black
Lamar
NFL
Jackson
personnel.
So I know, but when one of them speaks, it carries a lot of weight.
What I will say, but you can carry biases towards one culture or the other. I'll give you an example. So little children, right? And this is, just from doing, just watching videos in psychology, right? So they bring up black children and white children, right? And so they bring up and they give the black child and the white child a baby doll. And they say, I'm going to give you a black baby doll and I'm going to give you a white baby doll. They ask each one of those children, white and black, which one of those baby dolls is the prettiest. And so when you get the results, not only did the majority of all of the white children say that the white baby doll was pretty, but it was almost 85% of the black children said overwhelmingly the white baby doll was pretty too. So just because I'm the same color as someone I'm talking about, I can still have those biases instilled in me because I live in an environment that is telling me day in and day out. Everything is confirming that, yes, you are this color, but that's better. So it just shows you the phenomenon of, how would you?
And ultimately,
it exists. I'm not denying it.
But Jay, ultimately, the comparison to the white wide receiver is not a white corner is not a good one because there's never been any known bias, about. Well, I don't want a white cornerback
that you know of.
Well, but we know for sure there's been bias against black quarterbacks.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if there was no bias against white cornerbacks,
right?
You don't think we'd see more of them?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Generally speaking, it's almost like
most of the people making the decisions are white, so why would there be a bias against white cornerbacks?
Also, most of the people that are making the decisions want to win.
Okay.
So if you want to win, you're going to do the best thing you can to construct the best team you can.
Right.
If the guy's purple, yellow, green, I don't care.
Well, it's easy to say that, Jay, but racism is part of life. That factors in.
So then is it racist that there are not more white cornerbacks?
No.
Oh, I see. It only goes one way then.
No, I believe.
You really think that's the same comparation? It's
Well,
white people
I'm
making
giving
the
you-
decisions.
Right, but
Jay,
most
of the people in football are white.
Jay brought up
G.
a
Bush
point.
G. Bush just said and made a very good point, and it was astute. You're right.
Yeah.
Blacks, when asked to pick the prettiest baby, oftentimes, predominantly, went with the white. That doesn't mean that the white general managers can't oftentimes go with the black cornerback.
There's a big difference between white people being racist against white people and white people being racist against black people. That's a pretty big difference.
Here's what I'm trying to get up. This is why I brought this up.
Yeah.
The idea that in 2023, we're still putting players in categories. Like, I'm kind of shocked that we're talking about an all-black quarterback room. I really am.
Because it was unique. Why wouldn't we bring that up?
I understand that it was unique.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
and it's not like we've talked about it that much.
No, I know, but
we barely even talked about
that it's brought up to me is just like I'm stunned how much people still see color.
Because everybody sees color. I just think it's disingenuous or like I don't know. You all see color. It doesn't make you racist if you see color. I'm not going to.
Yeah, but if you're making judgments based on ability,
there's a difference between seeing color and making judgments based on color.
Right.
Guys, when we're talking about ability, though,